Hey guys, welcome back to another Legend Bowl update video. And we got some cool stuff that we did in this one that I wanted to share with you guys. So let's get to it. It's going to be in the Teams menu. This is version 1.0.1.8. And I wanted to get this one out because I have a lot of work ahead of me. I'm going to be working on a multi-season mode that I want to add to the game. So there will be more information on that as more things get completed, but just know for now, the plan is to try to work on something before the game hits consoles, and we don't have a date on that yet. But I wanted to get the multiple season career type thing going, and I think I have a pretty good idea and plan of what I want to do. But like I said, that's not this video, it's for another time. I just wanted to share with you kind of the background. So this update's probably going to be the last one for probably a few weeks. I'm not sure, unless there's a major bug. I don't plan on doing an update. I really want to knock this new phase out in the game, and like I said, there will be more videos or update or information that we release when the time comes. But for this update, there are a few things that I wanted to highlight that for those of you who are new to the update or even new to the game, that I kind of wanted to share with you. So the first one is, if you go into, from the main menu here, if you go into Teams, you're going to notice two brand new menu items, okay? The first one is called Fantasy Draft, and it's not going to be where you can go in and manually like pick every player for every team. That may come down the road. This is basically just a way to shuffle every player in the game, and they will move across all of the teams. So it's a very quick and easy way to take your entire roster. I know a lot of you guys out there mod the game or create your own rosters that represent real leagues, and so if you want to just push this button and have a fantasy draft, then you can do that. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to save this, so when you're done with both these items I'm going to show you now, you can go down to roster data, and you can basically save it and type in any character you want, and then that will save a copy. That way you can load it later and not really worry about, having it as like your main roster. But basically, like, I would save, like, if you have a roster that you're already using that you created that you don't want to lose, make sure that you save a copy of that, because that is going to get overwritten, I believe, when you save. Okay. So I would come in here first, make a backup of the one that you're using, and then I would go to this this area here, and I would do the fantasy draft. So basically it's what it sounds like. I said, on the right you can see a description. It's going to shuffle every player in the league like a fantasy draft, and it's going to take the players and move them across the league. So the way I did it, just so you guys understand, is I'm going to every single player, every single position, let's say, times every depth chart. So what it's going to start with are the QBs, like the zero depth chart QBs. So it's going to start with these guys here, basically the guys that are on, well, you see it as one depth chart. So the guys that are all ones will be the first round, basically. And then the next round will be the second and third, and so on. And then once you're done with all your depths, like, for wide receiver, it'll go 1 through 6. And then after the 6, it'll go to the tight ends. Then it'll go to the left guard, and etc. So every position times every depth chart position or order is going to do the same thing here. So that's what I'm going to call a round. So in the first round, you'll do the first string QBs. Okay. And those QBs will, what I do is I take all 32 teams and I shuffle them. So you just get a random shuffle. So you know, team 26 might pick first, and then team 14 might pick second, and so on and so forth. So what'll happen is it'll shuffle the entire list of 32 teams, and then they will pick the best overall player on that list. Okay, so it's very random. And then once that first string QB is gone, it goes down to the second string QB. Okay, then it's going to go through all the QBs ranked from top to bottom that are second string QBs. It's going to shuffle that entire list again. So now the first pick might be somebody else, and then another team, and so on and so forth. And it may just happen where a good team, it's very rare that it happens, but you're going to see some anomalies where some teams get very lucky, right? They may get the top 10 picks multiple times, you know? So it's going to go through that process for every single player times every position, you know, by depth chart. And then when it's done doing that, it's going to automatically reorder the depth charts and make sure that the best players overall are at the top. Okay. Another thing you're going to see while we're here that was added in this update is the overall column. Okay. Previous to this update, we didn't have this column here, which is very nice because now you can sort by overall, you know, and it may or may not match. Like that first team here, Arizona, the overall top guy is actually an 85 skill, but somehow, don't ask me why, but somehow he's got a higher overall, maybe because of strength, because passing strength is a big deal, right? So he's got a much higher passing strength. I mean, this is very low. Like this guy can't throw the ball far. He's very accurate, right? Because at the end of the day, what this means is that he's accurate. The skill on the top left there is he's very accurate, but he's not strong. He can't throw the ball very far. So his overall is going to be a little bit lower, right? So in this case, overall does make a big difference, right? And in the previous builds of the game, you might have put this guy as number one, right? And you may still want to do that because there are going to be times where there are players that have a higher skill. Like we'll go back to the overalls here, and we'll do let's do all players, let's do all QBs. And you know, the overalls are like, look at this one. He's an 88, but his skill's a 99. His strength's not that high, you know? And the overall formula may need to be tweaked because I'm thinking to myself, as I'm looking at it right now, like this guy's a 99 skill. His strength's not that bad, but you know, his speed's low, his agility's low. It's hard to tell. I may need to tweak that because I think he should be higher than an 88, you know, now that I'm looking at this. But you know, as I said, this is the first time I've ever really had a chance to look at the overalls in this type of a grid. So I think what I'm going to do at some point when I release the next major update, I think I'm going to refine the overalls because they seem like they need a little bit of work, right? Like this guy, I would think should be like a 94 or something, or 93. I think skill should definitely matter more than it is right now. And if I go to halfbacks, you know, this guy's a 92, he's got an 86 skill, but look at his speed. You know, these might be a little better. So for each position has a different formula, right? So every position is going to have a slightly different formula. So I'm probably going to go through those and refine those. And, you know, if you guys have any feedback, you know where to find me on Discord. Let me know. Now that you have this update and you can sit here and you can sort, then just do some homework. And once we have enough feedback and things make sense, we may, you know, we may have to make some changes here. But that's what's going to happen. So the fantasy round is that. It goes through, like I said, it takes care of all the players, shuffles them around, and then reorders everybody by overall. And then you have a brand new set. Okay. So I'm going to reset the teams now, just so you guys can see the changes. So if I go to the Buffalo Steel, which is basically my team, and I look at their lineup, they have Perez, Barber, and Richards. They got Mahoney. Now, if I go in here and I do the fantasy draft, it's going to ask you, are you sure? And then once you hit accept, it's going to go through, do its thing. And now when I go back, you can see that I have a totally different set of players, right? D Reynolds. And, you know, I'm not even sure where this guy came from, right? But he came from somewhere. I got Wade. I have other players. You know, once you get familiar with your roster, obviously, if you're using another league, you know the team, you know the teams very well. And these are all fictional players, so it's hard to really like see the difference right here. But all the guys were shuffled, right? If I go back and I reset, so they have the quarterback Darrell Reynolds. Okay, he's an 87 overall. If I go back and reset the entire roster, and then look through all the quarterbacks, right? Then I can see who this guy even was. I think he was an 87 overall, right? So Reynolds. So here he is right here. And this is the same guy, right? He looks the same as he was before. He came from the NOLA. I mean, I think that's their backup too. So if we look back at NOLA's, New Orleans, yeah, he's their backup. Okay, so I basically got their backup, right? So that's this guy. If I do it again, let's do another fantasy draft. It's pretty quick too. Like it runs very quickly. It's going to run even faster for you guys because I'm kind of running it on through the Game Maker engine here. And you're going to kind of see that, you know, their guys just changed, right? So let's see who the Buffalo Steel have now. They got Rubio, 81. They're not doing too well when it comes to this draft right now, but it's really cool. It allows you to flip your players around, and so that's one thing I added. The other thing I added, which is big, is very similar, but this one goes through and it rebuilds the entire roster. So it's going to actually take every single player and create a brand new name, create a brand new, you know, set of physical features, equipment, gloves, you know, all that stuff it's going to do, and then it'll reorder it, and you have basically an entirely brand new roster. And, you know, depending on your feedback, this may need to be tuned because now we're, you know, building every player over, and, you know, may need some, you know, modifications, but there are going to be ranges that are random, and so you might get some like outliers, you might get some weird things, and you can always just rebuild it again. But this was the engine that was used to basically build the game's default roster. But the default roster did get some manual tweaks to it, so it's a little bit more refined. But yeah, if you just go in here and you rebuild everybody, okay, it does its thing. And then when you're done, if I want to go back, now I got a whole brand new roster, just like that, guys. So I think this is going to add a lot of more life to the customization options. And for people that want to do fantasy drafts and they want to do just a whole brand new complete roster update, you can do that now, right? And you can even go, if we go look at the teams now, you're going to notice that the rankings are all over the place now. I mean, the 7th overall team is Houston. Let's see, the first overall team now is going to be San Diego, right? Second overall team is going to be the, let's see. The Metros, right? And these teams are both really, really good, you know, so the distribution might change. It's not going to be as even as it was before, but you can play around with it. And then, like I said before, the fantasy draft thing, that may change to be an additional option down the road where you can actually sit there and run a draft once that gets built into the game, and you can have more control over how these players are getting drafted. And other than that, there's more items in the patch notes for you guys to check out, so be sure to read the notes and get the full update details. And then hold tight. There's gonna be a little bit of time between now and the next update, unless there's a major like emergency that has to be pushed out. So I'm going to be working hard on the franchise, the first franchise mode for the game. And I have a really cool idea that I got from me and Mean Joe Green, the guy on the Discord. His name's Mean Joe. He built the franchise tool, and him and I were talking, and I got a pretty good idea of what I'm going to do. So stay tuned for that. And thanks for all the support, guys. This year is going to be a really good year for the game. We have our fingers crossed. We're doing a lot of good things. So keep up with the game and the updates. The game's getting better. People are loving it. We're loving the reviews. And we couldn't be any happier. So thanks again for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.